Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, yes, I'm camping again. Yes, it's another absolutely gorgeous day, and no, this is absolutely not a green screen. Anyways, here we're talking about Nintendo, and Nintendo unveiled some information that I think a lot of people kind of knew already, but will be excited about. Nintendo announced that the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible. This message is right from Nintendo's Twitter. At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that the Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. So if you haven't guessed already, yes, they're talking about the successor to the Nintendo Switch. And my guess here is this is why they were so adamant on getting rid of Yuzu as well as Ryujinx, considering that, well, if the Switch 2 can play original Switch games, I'm assuming that emulation on the Switch 2 may be far easier than Nintendo would want it to be. Now, as you probably expect, a lot of people are very excited about this announcement, and I would say rightfully so. I mean, if you've got a big collection of Switch games and now you can play them on the Switch 2, that would be absolutely amazing. But I think the key word here is playable. A lot of people are now expecting that the Switch 2 or the Switch successor will accept physical game cartridges from the Switch. If that is not the case, I think Nintendo may find themselves in a bit of hot water. But they do have a fairly decent track record. I mean, if you take a look at the Wii, it can play GameCube games. If you take a look at the Wii U, it can play Wii games. So hopefully everything will be okay here, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we're quickly talking about Redmagic. Now, if you're looking for a smartphone primarily aimed at gaming with very powerful hardware at a fairly reasonable price, Redmagic may be on your radar. The upcoming Redmagic 10 Pro is going to be fully unveiled on November 13th. Now, this is said to feature a Snapdragon 8 Elite with a whopping 7,000 mAh battery. And I'm very curious to see the final specs and the final unveiling of this product. On a quick side note, I do a lot of my Android gaming and emulation testing on a Redmagic 6R, one that ETA Prime sent me. It contains a Snapdragon 888, and as an all-around phone, it's okay, but as a gaming phone, it performs extremely well. I'm very happy with it. So I'm assuming here that the Redmagic 10 Pro is going to continue on with this trend. I've heard very good things about Redmagic overall in the gaming space. But moving on, and I've got another quick one for you. If you're a fan of Hogwarts Legacy, you're probably going to be a big fan of this news here, and this one was confirmed by Jeff Keighley. A sequel to Hogwarts Legacy is now in production and a very big priority. The game is planned to coordinate storylines with the upcoming Harry Potter HBO series, according to the Warner Brothers Games president. Now, I'm very curious about this one. I'm hoping that the sequel isn't going to be rushed to meet timelines, but it probably will be. That's just my interpretation of this. Anyways, here, having it being a priority is a good thing, I guess. If you're a fan of Hogwarts Legacy, you're going to be getting a sequel. Now, for reference here, Hogwarts Legacy just came out in 2023, so last year. And the HBO series, I think, is rumored to be coming out in 2026. So there's a 3-year gap between Hogwarts Legacy and probably Hogwarts Legacy 2. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Do you think the Hogwarts Legacy sequel is going to be rushed, or do you think that's absolutely fine in terms of development time? Next up, we're talking about the Mr. Pi. Now, we've talked about the Mr. Pi a bunch in previous videos. I may not be the biggest fan of the name because it has nothing to do with the Raspberry Pi, but at the same time here, I'm a big fan of this project. Now, for those who may not be aware, Mr. Pi stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, and it's an FPGA board designed to play retro games. It uses cores to emulate systems. Emulate is a touchy word there. And it's designed to be extremely accurate. Anyways, here, Take Udon has some incredible news for this incredible project. So he says, a group of individuals with a competing interest are angry that we are selling affordable Mr. Hardware. As a middle finger to them and thanks to the people who actually matter, all batch 2 Mr. Pi will be $5 off. If you were threatened before this, it's going to get much worse. I would argue much better for the consumer. In my opinion, the Mr. Pi is an excellent entryway into the FPGA world. In fact, you may not even need to go further. It may be the only entryway you need. And I do have a more expensive device here. I've got a Mr. FPGA. It's hundreds of dollars more expensive than that, at least in Canada. And I don't mind that there's a cheaper project out there that essentially does the exact same thing. In fact, I encourage it because in my opinion, this is going to grow the community, bring more people to it, and I think make it way more popular. So let's check out these prices. The Mr. Pi Retro Gaming FPGA board base kit is now $95. The Mr. Pi Retro Gaming FPGA board Mega Pack is now $155. And in my opinion, this is the one to get here. The Mr. Pi Retro Gaming FPGA board Turbo Pack, which is $180. And basically this device here is everything everyone needs, and you just plug controllers and a micro SD card into it and you should be good to go. Next up here, we're talking about a brand new Donkey Kong Country 2 cheat code that has just been discovered after 29 years. The cheat code, I would say, isn't really anything revolutionary, but at the same time, it is pretty handy. So basically, on any stage in Donkey Kong Country 2, even on ones you haven't completed yet, if you're on the pause menu and you press right Y, left A, up B, and down X, it'll bring you back to the map screen. And this can be super handy if you needed to stock up on lives or something. And speaking about discovering things after a long time, next up we're talking about Sony, and Sony seems to have discovered saving and loading states. And it seems that they've liked it so much they now have a patent for it. I'm not joking with you here, this is how I interpret it. Anyways, they say Sony patents advanced game rewind feature with new universal controller button. So here's what the article is saying how the patent works according to Sony. The user is able to enter the rewind mode from the live gameplay using one or more controller inputs to view recent gameplay, example rewinding, fast forwarding, playing, etc., and returning to live gameplay afterwards. The article goes into more detail about this patent as to why it matters. Sony securing a patent to add the rewind feature to its games could completely change how we enjoy them. Allowing players to rewind to any manual or automatically saved bookmark with a new button could prove to be a highly popular feature. Yeah, no kidding, that seems very much like saving and loading a state. So here's what the patent is called: Gameplay Rewind with User-Triggered Bookmarks. Now call me crazy, but that seems a whole heck of a lot like saving and loading a state. I mean, you save your state, you progress in the game. If things don't go the way you want, you rewind or load that state back in and progress again from that saved state. And that seems exactly what this is. Saving and loading states have been around in emulators for decades. This is not a new concept. Again, I might be misunderstanding something, and if I am, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But maybe they're just trying to patent the button to perform this action. Maybe the whole combo is the patent, in which case that has also already been a normal thing for a long time. I mean, on emulators, you can dedicate a button to save and load states. So I really don't know what's going on here. I don't know how this patent would hold up. But let me know your thoughts about this entire situation in the comments below. And speaking about old stuff, next up we're talking about Halo. Halo is turning 20 and there's some very good stuff coming out of this. So they say here, to mark the occasion, Halo Infinite sees the release of the Delta Arena, a playlist featuring recreations of some iconic Halo 2 multiplayer maps, complete with the same authentic gameplay inspired by that era. Outside of that, a fully playable version of the iconic Halo 2 demo shown at E3 2003, featuring gameplay that didn't make it into the final version of the game, will be added to the Steam Workshop as a mod for the Halo Master Chief Collection, for fans to play for the first time ever. So the Halo Infinite maps launch on October 5th, and interestingly here for the Halo 2 E3 demo, it was built on an engine that no longer exists, with assets that weren't even compatible with Halo 2. Anyways, it will be launched on the Steam Workshop on November 9th for free. So let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I, for one, am excited about this one. I like the Master Chief Collection. I'm a big fan of Halo. And I think that Halo Infinite getting these maps will bring back a charm that I think was kind of lost throughout the years in the series. I mean, not to say I'm nostalgic for the older Halo games, but at the same time, they just had a magic that the newer games to me just doesn't seem to capture. And speaking about stuff on Steam, next up we're talking about the Steam client, which just got a brand new update and introduced Steam Game Recording. This feature was previously in beta and now it's been rolled out. So they say here, Steam Game Recording is now available to all users. It's a new built-in system for creating and sharing your gameplay footage, which runs in the background so you never miss a moment. There are many ways to use this all-new set of features, from capturing your highlights to documenting entire campaigns. It's easy to find, clip, and share your gameplay. On top of that, they have dropped support for Windows 7 and 8. So they kind of snuck this one in there. They say this version of the Steam client will no longer run on Windows 7 or Windows 8. Users on these OS versions will not automatically update to this new version of the Steam client. So if you're on Windows 7 or Windows 8, you may want to think about updating your OS or possibly switching to Linux. Next up, we're quickly talking about HORI, and a lot of people have sent me a lot of messages about this one. It seems people are pretty excited about it. HORI has announced that their HORIPAD for Steam will be launching on December 16th on a very broad scale here. This one does have capacitive touch buttons. It does have buttons dedicated for Steam here. It works with a Steam Deck, and it will also work with Windows as X input. The controller has gyro functions. The battery on this one is said to last around 12 hours, and being priced at $60, I can see why people are excited about it. I think the biggest drawback to this controller is that it doesn't have rumble built in, and I think that will turn quite a few people away. But on the other hand, if you don't care about rumble and you're more suited to having the controller be a little bit more functional on Steam than possibly a standard controller, then you might be excited about this one. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below and if you're excited about it. Next up, we're talking about Stardew Valley. Now, we talked about Stardew Valley yesterday with version 1.6.9. And also the big news of version 1.6 hitting mobile. What we didn't talk about was their secret mobile multiplayer mode, because there is one. It is experimental. It is not necessarily easy to use. It's kind of clunky, but at the same time here, it does exist. So to unlock the multiplayer mode in mobile, the entire process here is a little bit weird. I mean, you have to go to the start screen and press the leaves in a specific order. Anyways, here it's up, up, down, down, left, right. I'm not joking with you, and that code may resonate with you for other reasons. Anyways, the whole thing here, you can connect to a PC. You'd have to type in an IP address, and they say it's easier to do it if you're on a LAN. Next up is a pretty cool heads up if you were ever curious as to the manufacturing cost of a smartphone. Now, obviously, this cost does not factor in the research and design and all of that stuff, just the raw manufacturing cost. And it turns out it's being reported that the Pixel 9 Pro's manufacturing cost is $400. Like everything I talk about, link to this article will be in the description below right at the bottom. Anyways, on top of that, the iPhone is being reported as costing just a little bit more than that, but not by much. The iPhone 16's manufacturing cost is reported as $485. Furthermore, the Tensor G4, the chip powering the Pixel 9 series of phones, apparently cost Google about $80 each, which is a lot cheaper than the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is being reported as costing nearly $200. Now, I don't know about you, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but I find this information super interesting to know. And now I'm very curious about the overall cost of research and design and development and also marketing and the overhead and all of that stuff. I'm assuming it's all going to add up to be pretty expensive overall, but this was a lot cheaper than I was expecting. And speaking about cheaper than expected, how about free? Next up here, we're talking about Brighter Shores. Brighter Shores is a brand new game that has just launched on Steam from the creator, the original creator of RuneScape. Now, this game has a mostly positive review score so far and is in early access. Taking a look at some of the feedback out there online, and some people are not happy with the stuff that's locked behind the premium pass on this one and the limited stuff that's available in the free-to-play version. And some people have said all of the grind of RuneScape without the reward. However, I will say that the negative comments seem to be far outweighed by the positive ones. For example, this one here. So far, I really enjoy the game. I will say it does need a way to change keybinds. I'm assuming since it's in early access, that will be added soon. $5.99 monthly subscription isn't that bad either, to be honest. So there's the price of it, $6 per month. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Next up here, we're talking about the highly popular Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And it turns out that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 will not have Denuvo on PC, and this is reported as confirmed by the developers. And on top of that, the developers have confirmed that Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 sold over 8 million copies. And for those who may be wondering, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is set to release on February 11th, 2025, provided there's no delay. And speaking about releasing, next up here we're talking about the opposite. It turns out that Elder Scrolls Legends, a card game, has been removed from sale and will become unplayable in January 2025. Bethesda is killing this game off, and there is a message now for people who boot up the game. Now, heading on over to the game's Steam store page, and it does say you can no longer add it to your library, and heading on over to the community section, and I don't see any official announcement from Bethesda just yet. In fact, all I see here are petitions to stop the shutdown, unless I'm missing something. And in my opinion, this is one of the big reasons why the Stop Killing Games initiative exists. Next up, we're quickly talking about Call of Duty Mobile, and this is just another one of those fun things to know. So if you were ever curious on how popular this game is, first and foremost, it's celebrating its 5th anniversary on November 6th. Secondly here, they have just announced this game has reached 1 billion downloads. That is a whole heck of a lot. Yes, mobile gaming is popular, but this is still a huge number for mobile gaming. If you play COD Mobile, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. If you still play COD Mobile, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is pretty crazy. And speaking about crazy, last up here, we're talking about the Binding of Isaac Rebirth. And if you were looking forward to the multiplayer mode, you're not going to have to wait too much longer. It's going to be a free online update in 2 weeks, and they are adding a multiplayer mode to it. So here's the whole announcement. 10 years ago today, so another game celebrating an anniversary, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth was released on Steam. To celebrate, we are putting the game and its DLCs on sale on Steam. So right now on Steam, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth is listed at 50% off. And taking a look at the review scores, it's got an overwhelmingly positive review score with over 274,000 reviews. That is a lot of people really liking this game. Anyways, here, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and if you're excited about the co-op mode that's launching on November 18th. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.